I'm going to demonstrate how to create a new vendor in this video. Um, like always, we start on our main menu, vendor, part of that in the speed search. It is vendor maintenance. Click on that, password again, and here are a listing of all our vendors. What we're going to do here is we are going to add. Also maintain a vendor and edit it by clicking on the edit button, but we're going to add it. So I click on the add here, and we start with adding the vendor number. In Infinity, vendors have 4-digit numbers. So let's enter this one. Vendor is best furniture. Address, zip code, phone number, and you don't have to enter these things. Web page, and the email address. Okay, so we filled out the address and the contact information here. Um, let's start over on this side here, and don't pay attention to the web business partner. Probably will not use. But here we designate whether we want to allow back orders on shipments from this vendor. So what that's saying is if a vendor doesn't ship complete the first time, the rest of the order will be canceled. The purchase order will be canceled. We're going to say that yes, we are going to allow back orders. Okay. The portion down here is where you are going to set up how often you would like the system to do an analysis and give you suggested purchase orders for this vendor. Those suggested purchase orders are based on the amount of inventory you would like to keep, the lead time for that vendor, and that's how it's going to calculate suggested orders. Those orders um, will create purchase orders that are not real yet. You have to review them, change them, and either accept them or not. It's a huge time saving because the system is doing all the thinking for you. You just have to let it know that you agree or make your changes. So here, for this vendor, we're going to start on this top line. We're going to ignore the underneath part right now. These boxes line up with the days of the week. So I'm going to say that I would like a suggested purchase order from this vendor on Mondays and Fridays. So when I come in, when that buyer for this department comes in on Mondays and Fridays, there will be a report waiting out there with a suggested purchase order. If he accepts them, they submit it. If he doesn't, they won't. If you want to change them, you can do that and then submit them. So we now have to answer these questions that the system is using to calculate orders. First is the weeks of supply that you want to keep. So we're going to say that we want to keep 3 weeks of supply for this vendor. And we are it's defaulting to method 3 on how to calculate. I'm going to click down here to show you the different methods. It can use the trend of sales of last year with lead time, trend of sales of last year with no lead time, trend of sales of the last 8 weeks with lead time or no lead time, and order quantity or just order quantity oversold. So we're using the trend of sales of the last 8 weeks. What that means it's going to calculate how many pieces, let's say, you sell per week, and it's going to use that as your basis for calculating orders. You have to, at the beginning here, give it an idea, the system an idea of what the lead days, how long is it going to take you to get this order We're going to say 21 days. And the nice thing about this is that once you're working with that vendor for a while, it's gonna the system's actually going to take what the real actual lead time is, not what you're telling it here. It's going to calculate those. Here, where it's asking you, do you want a suggested purchase order? You say yes. Uh, and the last box is the warranty type. We're saying it's a factory service. Okay, so that's what the system's going to use to calculate your suggested purchase orders. And we'll do suggested purchase orders in another video to kind of show you how they work and how to use them. They really are big time savers and let your buyers focus on things rather than just going SKU by SKU order period. Down below, we have the exact same things as we have up here, as these questions are. But this can now come down to a buyer and department. So let's say from this vendor, we wanted to look at bedrooms on Mondays. And let's say stationary living room on Fridays. That would give you a suggested purchase order just for those departments. And you can do different departments here, or you can do a whole buyer. Click on this one, we're going to say that Joe Buyer, he's off on Mondays and Fridays, so he wants to see his suggested purchase order. Right? And it should, I hope, save. It should take the standard numbers I put up here for the weeks of supply. But if not, we'll have to come back and fill it. All right, so down here, if you need a certain amount from this vendor to get free freight, you can put it down here, and that they might have a minimum piece order, so let's say it's 20 pieces. You can do that down here. And let's see, if you're going to use EDI for this vendor, click on EDI. And we've got a couple of companies here. Depending on your company, there could be more than this, but if you click one of these, it will use the EDI method for those companies. Okay. Down here where we have terms, this is now again, this is the first time you set up this vendor, so you don't have to do this every time you place an order. But the payment terms from this vendor might be days. And all this, you don't have to fill this out, but it's just a good, it's a good place to have a good information on this vendor in case the buyer is not there and somebody else has to do the ordering or work with the vendor, or if the buyer leaves and you hire somebody else, all the information on that vendor is in one place. So price means that you get from this vendor 5% cheap. If you use a flooring company, here's where you would enter it. Maybe you get advertising from this vendor. If you have a rebate program, you get 1%, $100,000. Right, let's do this. There we go. So 1% after you reach dollars. You get price protection from this vendor. You get 90 days after price change. Let's say that they exchange damages, and maybe they have a spiff program for your salespeople. And here is an important one. If we're feeding your GL system for your financials, you want to make sure you enter the AP vendor number. And so everything that happens with this vendor can be reported to your accounting people. Okay, got that filled out over here. We're going to add, this is where we're going to put the contacts for the company. So we click add contact. And so we have rep. We're not going to fill this out right here, but you can. Probably the most important thing you have there is the phone number to reach them and email. And you can now go down and enter some additional contacts at the company. Oh, add another contact. And so let's say this is right? And you can go all the way down. You can put the repair people. You can put everybody at the company that you're doing business with. And all you have to do is click on the line, and it will show you their information over here. So this is a great way for anybody that needs to contact people there to be able to know who they need to talk to. All right, so once we have that, we click OK. We're all set up here for this company now. The company is set up. We're set up to get suggested purchase orders for this company. And we should be able to click OK, save, and we are done. Let's see. I don't remember the name of the company that we use, right? Oh, wait a second. Save. vendor. Oh, the company we set up, it's Test Furniture. We'll click on it anytime. Now, get all the information. And again, if we made a mistake, we can go edit that company. And that's how you set up and you maintain a vendor.